There's something going on in Kampala. There's a divorce pandemic. And this is how...
Kampala or Uganda?
Uganda. There's something going on that we do not understand. And we don't know. I think at some point we talked about this on the podcast. Is it this generation? Have things gotten bad? We don't know. But our next guest is a man called Rushongoza Begumia, and he's a lawyer. He's handled more than 300 divorces. I don't know at what percentage of success are they, but it's a conversation that we felt is important to have. Rusho, welcome to Mind Your Head podcast.
Thank you. I don't keep up in touch with the averages. The only average I know, I've read somewhere is that 7 out of 10 marriages go down the drain. So that's the one that is keeping some of us in business.
Sheila, how are you? How are you?
I'm okay. Rusho, what's your Christian name?
That's a long story.
No, allow me say it. Allow me say it.
It's a long story, but Rusho, I think, is
the one is called Rushongoza Begumia Nkabafunzachi.
That's what I was asking. What's his Christian name?
He doesn't like it. So.
He doesn't have it, or he didn't like it?
I have it, I don't use it. I have it, I don't use it. But it's fine. It's
okay.
Fine.
I'm fine, Canary.
So, the more people break up, the more money Rusho makes.
Depends on where the money is going. That now determines if I have a problem with it or... Yeah.
So, is it me or there's something wrong going on in Uganda with the marriages?
I think that previously it was harder to dissolve a marriage because 1, access to the court that will dissolve it, 2, access to the practitioners that will help you dissolve it, but 3, the social sanctions on divorce. So previously, I think divorce was very frowned upon, and the success of the marriage was the responsibility of a single party, who was the wife. If a marriage doesn't succeed, the presumption was there's something wrong with the wife. And therefore, the society created alternative marriage options. So if you fail to connect with this woman, you marry another one. And then you find that even more problems now evolve because there are contestations, there are limited resources, people are having to allocate it, and so on and so forth. Now, it's a lot easier. And so people are more inclined to apply for a divorce when the marriage is not working.
Right.
Why? I think, living in a bad marriage can sometimes feel like a perpetual kidnapping. So I think people file for divorce the same reason why people file for divorce is the same way in prison people try to get out of prison. People want the freedom of not having to live
with someone
in a bad context.
Yeah. Sheila, I don't know what conversations you're having with your friends, relatives on this, but again, that's why I keep on asking, is it me but every 1, 2, 3 people you speak to, the marriage is not working. The only difference is that some people choose to stay.
I think it's different reasons. The elders that I've talked to say we are not patient enough. This generation, everything is about this generation. It's like we just fell from the sky, but we were raised by them. We've been in society, right?
Yeah, right.
But they seem to say this generation. So this generation are your children and nieces and nephews. So you also need to be part of the problem and find a solution. But what I've heard is that we are not patient enough. We do not want to communicate about what is going on. We do not want to have those hard conversations that need to be had. And that is what is causing all this.
Right.
But also there's social media. Social media.
Really, it's a thing.
That's a big one, yeah.
Social media. We want to be like so and so because someone has bought their G-Wagon, then I will pressurize this person that I must drive that G-Wagon. Keeping in mind that, of course, backgrounds are different, financials are different, but as a girl group, we've set our standards to this and I need to fit in and...
Why?
Social media. We have to...
Why is social media a thing? When she said social media,
I think it's a big thing. And I don't have science or whatever behind it, but I can tell you from what I see. I think she has, and the elders she was referencing have a valid point. What a bit of a valid point, they're just perhaps saying it differently. I think that what happened with a lot of old school marriages is that there was a lot of layers to them, right? So she came from Kabale, married someone in the next village. There are obviously a lot of social layers that are invested in the marriage. So
it's not just about the two of you.
So it's not just about the two of you. And I have a working theory that one of the biggest challenges a marriage can have is not have guarantors, right? So, it's like if you think about the US and the Russians, everyone has a nuclear missile. So the only reason they cannot go to war is because anyone can deploy it on the other. I think a marriage should have some guarantors, some people or social networks but for the fact that I'm in them or I respect them, I would have done something X to my wife.
Yeah, but that's an assumption that these days those social guarantors have ceased to exist.
I mean, I think that there are new forms and formats, right? So church, I think, is an important one, for example. I think that traditional relationships of some sort, clan relationships, I think tend to help in that regard. They don't often appear to be as strong as the old family unit of interwoven. So I'll give you an example for where I come from. One of the most sacred things you can ever do is give someone a cow. In that regard, Canary owe me a cow, but that's another story.
You don't owe me a cow, but I owe you a cow.
we owe each other. We shall reconcile.
Okay, because of age, I'll accept.
So,
because I have children and you don't.
I have no children I am aware of. There's no I don't have children.
The one you're aware of. No, I'm just saying that I'm older than you in one or another.
Oh yeah, it's a few months. But so in that context then, the exchange of bride price created a very locked family unit because, you have paid bride price. So there are so many locked relationships that insist upon the marriage to succeed with varying degrees of success. I think now with Uganda becoming more cosmopolitan, you've met someone here in Kampala and you only go to the parents when the marriage has crystallized. And yet we always, like when I see people having a wedding, it's designed as the pinnacle of the relationship, right? Like people have dated together for 3 years, 4 years, and like this relationship should move to another level. So marriage is crafted as the end goal. And yet when you really look at it, it's the start.
Yeah.
Because if I'm married 45 years, the wedding was really the start.
Yeah.
I have a 45-year journey to run.
Yeah.
So I think that lacking those social networks, again, in the context of like social media where your infidelity is just one button away, or the ability to compare people, because we see all these people with like picture perfect marriages, they're vacationing together. And I see that the blueprint, I see the pleadings and it's bad. I remember I handled a case of someone in public, excellent marriage. And I was defending. So I read the petition and I just couldn't, for some reason I thought the names had been misspelled. So that allure of
you couldn't fathom the idea that
I couldn't reconcile
these two are perfect out there in the public, but the petition is this bad.
And they kept coming in that allure in court. You get the holding hands and whatever.
But why? So I don't know. Why are you still you're in
I think that there's something about marriage that within our society tends to equate it to a land title. Or there's something
ownership
about marriage that if I have it, it's like another chepe here.
Yeah.
And that's not to say marriage is not important. Marriage is an exceptionally important institution. But I think that they are
says someone who goes to court to make sure that people split.
But Canary, honestly, I was having a conversation with someone where I was put in the group. Hope I'm not thrown out of this group. And introductions were being made. And I noticed this. All the ladies who are introducing themselves, if I was given an opportunity to introduce myself in a particular space, I'm not saying I'm Sheila Tusiime and I'm married. Because there's more to me than being married. But it's like being married is, oh my God, like you said, an extra.
You've not
right?
had people who say,
So I'm like, maybe because of my background and people say I'm hating, but you're much more than this.
yeah.
But I guess maybe I'm wrong. So Sheila, Tusiime, I'm married, I'm a mother, yes. Good introduction, but you're CEO, you're doing business, you're doing all that. Why would you really focus on?
Getting married.
Yeah.
Rusho, there's a case that you've handled where most cases, I think, where two people have come together, they have gone to court, they have told court we're tired of each other.
Yeah.
We just want to move on.
Yeah.
But court is saying no.
You want. So the thing is, and
They've even gone ahead
yeah.
to bring one partner's side person to court to testify.
I've had cases where it's clear the couple, by no fault of each other, just grew tired of each other. You know, I had a case once where these people had lived apart for 17 years. Right? No one ever did anything to or at least as far as they let me know.
They lived apart for 17 years.
No one has ever done anything to anyone. They have never quarreled. They have never they just woke up and said they had a business discussion and said this thing is not shifting. Yeah, okay. One moved out. People began doing their own things. They had children and whatever. And at some point they say, you know, we need to dissolve this thing. So they said, no, we're not going to get two lawyers. We don't need that. We're going to get one person.
That's amazing.
And I had to explain to them, that we have to get something that is tangible. I have to give a reason to court. So we have largely there are about 7, but we have largely 3 grounds of divorce, which is adultery, meaning someone cheated. It has its caveats, right? So for example, a person cannot cheat by kissing someone. They must have sex.
And you must prove it.
And you must prove it one
How are
way
you
or
going
other.
to prove it?
So you can
That's
prove
the law.
circumstantially.
That's the law.
You can prove directly or circumstantially. The best evidence, of course, of adultery is children. That's the best one. But there's
People didn't get to their children, but
there's circumstances. You can find messages, you can find things which the law has told us that you must show that in the circumstances which you are showing, it is inconceivable that they were not sleeping with each other. Okay? So that's the first thing you show. If you are forgiven, the person cheats and you know and you forgive, you can't now come back. So you have to find a new one now. Right?
And in these circumstances, there is evidence that you've actually forgiven. For example,
if you have forgiven the person,
yeah.
wow, what if I say I didn't say those things?
But if you have children with this person, again, after this incident happened, it means that you forgive them.
So
if they are not children.
You'll forgive me. The law of divorce is a little bit archaic. So for example, it says that one of the thresholds that we can use to prove that you forgive someone is if you slept with them. What we call resumption of conjugal rights.
So how will you know that? I have to say to confirm it, right?
No, you don't have to confirm it. The person just needs to lead evidence that you were sleeping with each other. You see the chaos we are in.
Yes.
So you have to prove cruelty. Cruelty is the second one. Cruelty is basically this person was bad to me. But in proving cruelty, you must show what the law says, quote unquote, something more than the ordinary wear and tear of a marriage. So the law assumes that when you get married, from time to time, you get from time to time. Or you might curse at them. But you have to show that they did something really bad that justifies me not living with them. The third ground is what we call desertion. That yande cow. But that one you have to show that he has deserted me for 2 years, or she has deserted me for 2 years.
2 years is the minimum.
Minimum.
But at any one point in those 2 years, if I ever returned to this person's place,
And you resume cohabitation.
we start afresh. Even if I was there for just a day.
We reset.
It's just too much
So
work.
now you see why
Yeah.
I recommend prenuptials, because they release, or postnuptials, they save us this headache. Because one, we must first of all show that the marriage must end. Then we begin dividing property. But me and the lawyer on the other side and the judge who are not there, we don't know what you guys discussed at night. Then we begin allocating which children should live with who. Then we begin now determining who should pay school fees, who should buy sportswear, who should, this child has asthma, who is going to buy the inhaler? Yes. And it's pound for pound, we quarrel on every item.
Yeah.
Then the divorce perhaps ends because we get a 6-month window where if you reconcile, the divorce lifts. What we call the NISA. After the divorce ends, because it takes about 6 months after so we take about 3 or 4 years in court, if you're lucky, and then
You take 4 years in court.
yeah. But I have cases where we're on appeal.
They divorced and now they're appealing.
Supreme Court. We are waiting. Supreme Court is here in cases of 2018.
So, Sheila, this is
Wow.
why I thought that I should ask this question. What is going on?
I think times have changed. Times have definitely changed. People are more exposed. People are more self-aware. There's so many opportunities now, people are traveled. They've seen what is out there and they know they can do and be better. The women now are working, right? We've been given an opportunity to lead, to head boards, to lead companies, to manage homes on our own as partners are away or doing other things. And if I can do this, toina chongamba.
I mean, I would agree that there's something that has changed, which is the reverence that we give marriage and unhappy marriages. Because traditionally, I think unhappy marriages and happy marriages had the same scores. As long as you stay married, you're in business. I think now it has changed a bit, but I think also what has changed, because I think I would agree if you say that, I would agree if people were not getting remarried. But virtually everyone whose divorce I handles remarries within a 3-year window.
Is it because the options there are limited, so they have to go back to the devil that you know?
No, not remarries with that person, marry someone else. I've had one where they remarried, where we quarreled.
After wasting your time.
We quarreled the exchange. There's a time when someone threw a jar at another one of water. And then 8 months later, I got a wedding invitation.
Yeah, we hosted one of the, I think, divorce experts on the podcast. And he was telling us there's a pandemic in Uganda. He said before someone divorces, they're already in another relationship.
That's fairly commonplace. Because I think that the emotional cost of the divorce, like by the time the parties make it, usually there is an incentive. And that incentive is either that the situation inside the marriage is so bad that I must find a way out. Or that there's someone who I think I'm designed to live with for eternity, and I need to find a way out of this situation. So that's part of the reason. But I think we saw a lot of it when COVID came. Like, it went through the roof.
Yes.
COVID was insane for
Why you
divorces.
have to be with someone in the same house at all times.
Yeah, but also the money, because I think money is a really huge part of divorces.
So, Risha, do you believe in, how people want to imagine that you cannot separate money from love?
Yeah.
Are you one of those people who believe in it?
So, I think that it's possible for people to manage their money outside of, what conventionally happens in a marriage. But I think what I would recommend is that you get either a prenup or a postnup. And I say this because, so let me give an example of a married man, Canary here, my brother. I was at his wedding, first and foremost. So I wanted to explain what happens when you get married. So when you get married, we take you out of what we call the title system. Right? What that means is, if you buy a car, because the title system means whatever has your name is yours, right?
Yeah.
If you buy a car, you may have bought yourself a car. That's what marriage does, because it moves you out of the title system. So if you buy a car, you may have bought yourself a car. If you buy land, you may have bought land. Because at the dissolution of a marriage, the fact that you are the one who bought something doesn't mean you'll take it home.
Hmm.
Right? Now, what we
Even in the title, the name has just one person.
yeah.
But marriage.
Yes, we even have a caveat of yours, your own
else.
caveat. You have also put the title is in your home in a briefcase somewhere. You pack aside the money. That does not mean you will
It's
take
yours.
it.
Yeah.
And this is what I always. And first of all, the way the law is built is that it recognizes two types of contribution. So when we are going to share your property, we first of all ask ourselves who paid money, and did the other person contribute? Number two, we have what we call non-monetary contribution. Do you know one of the most important ones? Companionship.
That was there.
The fact that I have lived with you,
Gatoina.
you would not have gotten what you got.
If I'm not giving you peace.
That one.
And I had an engineer say, client, who said, but the sole reason why I'm walking away
Is because
he
of
didn't
you.
give me any peace. So I remember I've probably told this story a lot, where we dealt with a case where a couple had bought a house together when they were married, and then when they made more money, they bought their adjoining plot and built a huge palatial home. So during the period of dissolving the marriage, a proposal arose that why doesn't one person move to the other house, the small one? Because they had put a small gate. Why can't someone move to this one? The one who has the bigger house compensates this one, so that the children always just have to cross a compound. And the respondent, who was a man, said, "My lord, I cannot live with this woman even in the same district."
Rusho, I think the law is nonsensical in the kind of way that it assumes a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's a meme going around on Twitter where this house was split into two, and the other part of the house left the. I think it's by AI, but then someone tweets and said, "Must have been such a terrible divorce because the house part of the house had to shift."
You've seen that case where the lady got curtains
As in,
after a 7-year marriage. The judicial officer decreed that the only thing she had contributed were curtains, so she should get them back. So,
but I wanted to ask this:
Yeah.
What is this kind of what toll is it having on people's minds lately, young people's minds? Because you find someone walking on the street, or they are driving, but they are not in the car.
It's
they have
nasty.
so much thought.
It's like, so I work, part of the other bit of work I do is that I work in what we call high stress litigation. So where now it is like the marriage has gone down so badly that the litigation is intense. And what we often see is an increased incidence of mental health problems, right? Especially depression and anxiety. Those two especially. And I've had so many cases where both parties did not lay a hand on each other, but the marriage was so bad that I had to explain to the judge that because of the marriage, this person developed a mental health problem and you need to resolve it. And previously, our law of cruelty did not accommodate mental health problems. So you had to show physical violence. Now it has changed a bit, but we see a lot, and we see that cascade often to also the children. Because you have so many cases of when the marriage has gone bad, people kidnapping children, quote unquote. You take children to school and you come back to find that someone has received them. So your wife has taken them now.
Yeah, the teachers know this person as family, so they're not going to question.
The children have gone. Now you find the child has 2 sets of clothes, one at the father's, one at the dad's. He never knows where he sleeps. So we've seen a lot of. I dealt with a case once of someone who was very psychopathic, like as representing. Funny enough, as representing. So under Ugandan law, and this is something you journalists need to do something about. Under Ugandan law, if someone cheats on you, and that is your reason for asking for divorce, unless if you do not know the person, or the person is dead, you must name them. You must name the person they cheated with.
How is that relevant now? Will they call the person to come and...
So, this is the other weird thing about Ugandan divorce law, is that if someone accuses you of cheating with their husband or wife, they can sue you for compensation.
Compensate what?
What are you compensating now?
So I've had cases where, you know what you guys think about divorce? You always think he's either representing the husband or the wife. I've had cases where I'm representing now people who are accused of.
The side chick. Oh, the side man.
Accused of. Accused of underlining.
It's like reporting and saying allegedly.
Yeah, so we've had cases where, like, I had one where the person was psychopathic, and the things that the lady, the petitioner, went through were like completely like, I
movie
think,
like.
sorry, not even movie like this was beyond. I think you need to do an investigative report, because the person used to, I think, climb. You know how you live on like the third floor and the guy climbs it and begins tinkering with the burglar proof. So you're in bed at 3 a.m. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So people, you see people who have like heightened anxiety. I think I dealt with a case once where one of my client had a nervous breakdown in court. Like, and yet, you know, if your wife or husband drives you into a nervous breakdown or a clinical depression, you must come publicly and say, they did this to me. There's very little room now.
With medical documents and all that.
Yeah. And cross-examination.
Then you're declaring yourself as psycho.
More or less. So your medical record is on the file,
which can also be used against you.
Exactly. So it can get very nasty.
Right. I'm worried about the kind of children that we are raising, because they're seeing us going through all these things, and if it has gotten bad when we're in our 30s.
When you are in your 30s. When you are in your 30s.
Your statement is not inclusive.
Yeah.
Me and him.
People might be in their 20s.
Please make it clear.
Yeah.
If it is getting bad when we're in our 30s, in 2025, I'm thinking when we're in our 60s and our children are 30, it's going to be terrible. I don't see how this is getting better.
I think it depends. You know, I think that spaces like this are a very important place to sort of share knowledge on how to build lasting, healthy relationships. Not necessarily marriages, because some people have relationships and never choose to get married. And I think that, so first of all, I've never been married. Not that I'm aware of anyway. But I've seen the end of marriage. And I think that in most cases, it's a skill issue. Like, I think that there are skills that need to be built for you to build a healthy marriage. And no amount of loving this person or being infatuated with them will build a healthy marriage.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Rosho, that it's going to get worse, because growing up, our mothers never walked away. They did at some point, but they came back.
They signed out, but perhaps never walked away.
Yes.
Your fathers or mothers, they signed out.
They never walked out. But you need someone, they are 35 and they've been in 3 marriages.
And it's not a bad thing, I think.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is that marriage growing up was such something to hold on to. Like you said, you know, it's a social contract with a lot of institutions, the church, and all these other people, relatives and etc. But now, it's not that anymore. And I'm thinking it's going to deviate way further from that.
If we don't do something about it. I think that all these lovely social institutions tell us so much about the fact that we need to get married and don't tell us what we need to do in a marriage. You know, like, so people learn how to fight in a fight. You get, like, every, from a certain point in your life, you're told you need to get married, you need to have a family, you need to be a father. First of all, none of those things or none of that messaging often reflects the standard. So be in a marriage, not be in a good marriage, not be a good father, be a father. Right? Then, when you listen, we're never told what we should do. Like, who is a good husband? right? What do I do if I've lost interest in this person? What do I do if we can't find a mechanism of fighting peacefully? You know, how do I adapt to the fact that this person has changed? And I think that's the conversation we need to have. The skill set that we need to build a marriage, the patience, the tolerance. Like, these are things that even when I meet, when I'm in divorces, I very often see that perhaps these people could have benefited from, and they were not told that. Yeah. So I think
someone would say that divorce is one-sided. Most of the time favoring the women because they walk away with the properties. They're the ones claiming all the monies and properties. What is your take on that?
I don't think that it favors women. I think that divorce is like going to war. Even when you are declared winner, you never win. You know?
What does that mean?
Because if you invade Sudan and you fight for 20 years, and they say you have won, you Uganda, you have won, you are not going to resurrect the soldiers that died.
Yeah.
Right? So everyone will lose. Divorce, in my view, doesn't favor anyone. But I think that there's a context, a specific Ugandan context to divorcing. Because I think that we often ignore that there's a public-private divide, right? In our Ugandan society, men are expected to live in the public space, right? So when you go to a place like this, a restaurant, right? Who are the chefs? Men.
Yeah.
Who largely cooks in our societies? Women. That doesn't make any sense, right? And it's because the way our society is designed, men are conditioned to exist in the public space where there's high remunerative work. And women are largely condemned to the private space where they do what is considered low value, non-remunerative work, like childbearing, child nurturing, cooking and fending for the family. Like, you never see a price tag. And I'm not saying marriage should be transactional, but I think that our divorce context recognizes that very often women will be the anchor of the family in the private context, and that should that marriage be dissolved, the things that the family has benefited from the public context should be shared between these two people. And I think that also, I would actually say that divorce was actually often, I don't want to say often, but I could see layers of unfairness for women. Because very often what the women do to support the family is not easy to prove.
Yeah.
You know, if you say, I built a house, financial code, that's the easiest because bank statement, whatever. But you find that the woman is inspecting the site, the workers are being cooked for by her, whatever.
And he's also giving you peace.
Yeah, but the person is not going to come and say, but this is the list, these are the saucepans which show that I cooked, you know. So
while they were building.
Yeah, so
I hear you.
Yeah, so it's a bit skewed. It's harder to prove certain things if you're female or if you are in that context.
How do we save the next generation of marrieds? You know, I think we have to, because the next generation is our children. So how do we save them as they get into these relationships in this society? But also something that I've noticed, Canary, is whatever is happening, I don't want to use the country at large, whatever is happening in the city that I'm sure you've all noticed is the relationships are in the same, there was that advert then that used to...
Sexual network.
Yeah, the same network, right? The same people, and I'm thinking, how are we going to break this? Because it then takes us to the next generation. And even as they pretend to get into these marriages, we're going to end up in the same place.
It's a difficult question to ask an unmarried person, but if I could hazard a guess,
I put a disclaimer.
I think that, and maybe these are some scary ideas, but I think that we need to begin from thinking about marriage as a relationship rather than as some sort of social structure. Because people can choose to live together 25 years and never get married, right? And any successful intervention should also target those people. But I think that for me, the starting point is that we need to make it easy to start and dissolve marriages.
That's why when I see celebrities in Europe or America, person is on their 5th divorce. Why? Because it's easy to end the marriage.
Yeah,
when they get married, they say, "Oh, we're going to live together forever." it's easy for them to
Yeah, because also, when we talk about divorce as a pandemic, sometimes I'm not very sure, because I think that the alternative to a divorce sometimes can be an autopsy.
Yeah.
Sometimes can be an autopsy. A guy can shoot you dead, or a woman. So I'm not sure that rising, say, cases of dissolution of marriages are exactly a bad thing, that there's a correlation. I'm not sure. But I think the point is that, one, we must make it easy to dissolve and start marriages. Because why must I go to I can imagine if I were a public personality. If I end a marriage, I must go to court and say, event by event, the reasons why I'm leaving this person. Right? Now, do we as the public, should we know when musician X or politician Y or business person X, why they walk out of their marriage? Is it something that's important to us?
Yeah.
I think that's the start. That
I think it should, because when you got married and you did a wedding, you invited people. It was the public that
You put it out there.
So first of
I
all,
think they should have a stake.
Two things. One, so there is a decision, and I think me and Canary discussed it a little bit when it came out. There is a decision of the court, because a group of people went to court and said, you need to allow us have no fault divorces. Right? I shouldn't list the number of things this person has done to me. Among other things, because if I have 3 children with this person, first of all, we are going to fight a 4-year battle in court, calling ourselves the worst of worst things. But the children have not died. I must co-parent with this person. But number 2, do I want my daughter to wake up? Because what happens is that when you divorce, very often the law students at the university use your case to study. So, first of all, you're going down in history, number 1. But number 2, your children have the horrendous opportunity of reading everything that went bad in their parents' marriage in fine print. Now, should we have that? I don't think so. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that one of the things that I think that makes dissolution of marriages very complex is children and property. And we need to make it easier for people to get prenuptial and postnuptial agreements. Because, you see, the inverse, if you don't get a prenup or postnup, Parliament decides for you. Now, you tell me whether you trust your MP to make the best decision about how to dissolve your marriage than the person who you may disagree with, but you have been in the same bed for 20 years. Because a postnup or a prenup removes a lot of quarrels. So, but also 3, I think that the institutions of society should go beyond telling us to get married and share with us how we actually build a healthy relationship. Because I think that's work that we're not doing a lot. Yeah. So how do you actually coexist with someone? Because we like to think that we're not very difficult people, but we're very complex people. And in my experience, when I read these divorces, a lot of that work is not being done by perhaps the societies.
Yeah. Rusho, many thanks for sharing your thoughts with us on this. And
before he goes, Canary, I'd like to ask him, your decision or your choice not to get married or be married, is it from trauma of your cases that you have handled?
I can see you were waiting. It was. I think that marriage, actually divorce, I think. First of all, when I left law school, I said to myself, I'd never practice 2 areas of law. Criminal law, because there's blood involved, and family law, because there's children involved. And I've done both. But I think that divorce practice is quite easily one of the best things that happened to me, because it helped me, first of all, understand marriage, understand relationships, and understand people. As to whether I've become a better partner, that is something I may have to invite other people here to share on. But
to give you this.
Yeah, hopefully I will invite you guys to a wedding very soon.
All the
We'll
best.
see. And hopefully I don't see either of you in my office except for a prenuptial or a postnuptial.
Thank you, Rusho, for sharing your views with us.
My pleasure.
And thanks to the Maze Restaurant for hosting us in this beautiful space. We love it here. Very calm. I think it has one of the best breakfasts.
I think that was context. You chose the maze because marriage is a maze.
And thanks to Adam Bank for making sure that this podcast comes to you. And thank you, Sheila, Rihanna, for being here.
You're welcome. See you next time.